Hello, friends. Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Craft Your Joy Live. I'm Lisa Hetrick. It's been, I think, 2 weeks, friends, since we've seen each other. There's been a lot going on that I'm going to share in today's tutorial. Actually, today is kind of a tutorial, but really it's a paint and chat. We're just going to paint and just talk and just kind of ease into our summer weekend here. Okay, and I'm going to talk about Davinci paints because I love them. And I think I said I had shared that for the month of July, I was going to talk about Davinci paints. So I really want to. And I have a lot of them, and I'm getting ready to make a new palette with them. So fun. Okay, I see people popping in. Hello, everyone. Hi, Judith, Cherie. Hey, Sharon and Tracy from London. Hello. Okay, yeah, normally I don't go live on Friday. Normally go live during the week, but it's been there's been a lot going on in the last week and a half in our family, and we had a holiday here in the US, so lots of different things happening. So I just really wanted to ease back in to a live together as we move into the weekend and just have some fun and do a little pause and paint and talk about some things that are happening and that are coming. So let's go ahead to the overhead camera. Pop my face in. And also just probably adjust my colors here a little bit. There we go. Okay, I had shared this. This is what we're going to paint today, or something like this. I was going through my sketchbook recently, or just going through my flat files and taking a look at things, and I saw this, and then I shared it on social media because I hadn't posted in like over a week. Because of all the things that have been going on. And this just kind of brought me joy. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just have some fun and paint this, freehand paint this on our live today, and just kind of talk about creating this look, this floral look inside of this heart shape with brush strokes. So hello, Rhonda. Rhonda just popped in. Hello. So let's dive in. I don't have all of the supplies that I'm using yet listed down below, but I will. I'll list them after the live today. I just didn't have them. I just didn't have them listed. So this is what I have, friends, today. I have some brushes. If you're painting along with me, because I did share this in my email list, that we were going to be doing this and what supplies you would need to paint along with me. And you just need some paint, some brushes, and some watercolor paper. Now today I am using some Arches, this 7.9 by 7.9 block, because it's the first thing that I grabbed this morning. And I just kind of loosely did a heart on here that was kind of wonky, sort of wonky like this one. But we're going to focus on doing a lot of like leafery and brushstroke leafery to create that shape of the heart, and then just popping some flowers on the inside. We're going to see where it takes us. Now, I've got a couple brushes here. I've got some Princeton Velvet Touch and the Princeton Heritage brushes. I'm going to predominantly be using, I got a little one here. What's this one? A number 2. I've got a 6, a 10, and an 8 petal brush. I've got this petal brush here. If you're in my free community, I kind of have done, I did a brush tutorial last month where I went through the different rounded filbert brushes and petal brushes to make petals. I'm going to share a little bit. I may or may not share a little bit about that today. Okay, now let's just dive into the colors. I wanted to play with Davinci watercolors. Now, it's not many of you, I know it's not your first time here on my channel watching me talk about watercolor, and I've talked about Davinci watercolors before, and I love them. I love them very, very much. They're made in the USA, in California. Daniel Smith is made in California. I really like them. I like all the different brands of paint. And I know I've shared that on here before for different reasons. And what I really, really love about Davinci is that they're just very, very vibrant and predictable and smooth. And some of the colors that they have, I just really enjoy over any other color in any other brand. So just to kind of give you a sense of my level of commitment to Davinci. So these are all my tubes. I've got a bunch of tubes over here that I think we're gonna play with. And then here's some more of my tubes. Now I use these tubes. These are newish because they had a big sale. And I've got refills for some of my pans that I have. I have 2 pan sets I didn't even show. So these were all refills for those pan sets. And what's in here are these colors right here, which I love. And then I have some over here. I even have some big honking ones that I've used for bigger projects. Like, look at that. What I love about Davinci is that they're super affordable, high-end paint, but really, really affordable per tube. And they have 8 milliliters, 15 milliliters, which is like this normal size. And then they also have those big honking tubes if you use a lot of a certain kind of paint. So Cheryl just asked a question, is a number 10 or a number 12 round brush the same as a mop brush? So Cheryl, hi Marie. Cheryl, no. So the mop brush, the number 10 and number 12 round brushes come to a point when they get wet. So let me show you to see how they come to a point when they get wet. Mop brushes don't. They're moppy, but they're fun. So they are completely different. They might come, like when you get them wet, they might come together, but you won't be able to get that really fine point paint, like line work with a mop brush. So I hope that helps. And I have a mop brush, so I can dig that out. I'll dig that out when it's behind me. Look, I'm pointing like in that direction. It's behind me in one of those jars. So I'll grab it out so that we can see it before we finish the tutorial today. Okay. Okay, so here's one of my Davinci sets that I love. And I've made the set. This is like a little custom set. So this is a little set of 24, but you can see how beautiful and vibrant these colors are. Today we're going to play with, I want to play with a lot of greens first to do the leafery, and then we're going to pull in Permanent Rose, Opus. Opus is a really fun color. That's their Vivid Pink, which is really like kind of fluorescent and is just what their version of opera pink is. So opera pink is a very common name for really this vibrant pink that you'll see in lots of other brands. So we're going to play with some of my favorites. Perylene Green, Joyce's Mother Green. I love this color. The violet, I think we're going to play with a little bit. This green gold we're going to play with. And then our Permanent Rose, and then Alizarin Crimson. So this is more of our pink skewing color, and this is more of our red skewing color. I also have this Benza Media Orange. I probably just blew the way I said that, but we'll see. Let's just have some fun. I am going to not use this one today. I'm going to use some of the paints in the tubes. So let's go ahead. I've got this Joyce's Mother Green. I'm going to take a little bit. Hopefully I can get some out. I've got this little, when your tubes get a little like pinched on the end and you've got, and you really want to get some of your color out. I found this little key thing. They make them for paints, but I I had this for shampoo. So I'm like, I saw it in the shower and I immediately thought, oh, I could get this out and use this. So let's put some of that color down. That's the Joyce's Mother Green. So that's pretty cool. Love that. I really like this color. Today is going to be like pretty calm, like tutorial you're welcome, Cheryl, as we kind of walk through some of the things here. Um, this is a pigment that has 3 pigments in it. So PG7, PY42, and PBR7. So it has a little bit of black in it, which makes it really, really beautiful. So here's another Joyce's Mother Green. So I've got that. Perylene Green. This is probably one of my favorite greens in a lot of different brands. I love the Daniel Smith version. I love the Winsor Newton version. You can't go wrong with this color. This also is a green that has black in it. So I'm going to take a little dab of that right there. This is a little porcelain. Watch, you can see it right here. White porcelain. It's like a tapas plate. I got it at Home Goods in a pack of 5. Home Goods is good for that kind of stuff. I got Joyce's Mother Green, Perylene Green, and then I've got this green gold. Oh, I hope I can salvage this. I can feel that it's kind of tight and clogged. I wonder if I have another one. Let's see. I need to really kind of clean that one up. Let's see if I have another green gold, because I really like that color. Here it is, right here. So if your paints get kind of janky like this one did, it's kind of drying up a little bit inside because I didn't have the tube closed really well. You can bring it back to life. I always equate it to, it kind of turns into like a pan set of color inside the tube. So you could cut the tube open and you can use the color, but I can feel that it's kind of squishy in here. So I think I can just use the key and just kind of bring it back. Okay, so here's my green gold. Hello, Kathy. No worries. Oh, Marie. So Marie is is one of our community members in the Craft Your Joy Lab, and we've been talking back and forth about dot cards, which reminds me, Marie, thank you. Marie recently ordered the Daniel Smith dot cards, and I just got up for a second because I recently picked up a set of dot cards. I can't stress this enough. So dot cards, if you are interested in buying a set of watercolors or buying tubes and you're not really sure what you would like to use, I'd encourage you to find the company that you're interested in, Daniel Smith, whatever that company is, and then pick up their dot card set, or this is the Davinci set. This is their complete entire line of colors, and they do them in these little dot like crates. Isn't that the coolest? And then they tell you the colors and then what's in the color and all of the information about them. And I just recently picked these up for Davinci because there's quite a few of their brand new colors, and there's quite a few colors I don't have, and I really wanted to experiment with them. So it is a super fun way of trying out all the colors in a brand. I have the Daniel Smith one, I have a Winsor Newton one, and it's just a really great way to see all the different things that are available, and then you can make choices, especially if you're not buying them in pan sets. Here's the last one. If you're not buying them in pan sets and you're buying them in tubes, and you can start out very small with a couple colors that you really, really like. So, love it. So I'm excited, Marie, for you to give them a try and see how you like them. Yes. Okay. All right. I've got some water here. Let me move my colors around and let's just kind of dive in. I've already got some paint on here, so that's kind of a mess. Now, we're going to start by doing some leafery, brushstroke leafery around our edges here, just to kind of give this heart some shape. And I just penciled in the heart, and I literally did it like two minutes before we went live. So again, No illustration experience needed. What we're going to do is do some brushstroke leafery, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, this color was the Joyce's Mother Green. I'm just going to get a little bit of it out here so that you can see it. Love that color. This one, my second one, was Perylene Green. And you can see that that green has a little bit more black in it. Okay, let's clean off my brush. I feel like I'm a little bit crowded out here. Let's come out a little bit so that you can see what's going on. Okay, and then this last one is that green gold. So let's swatch these colors out so that you can see them before we get started. Let's see if I can find a piece of paper that's clean or empty. Oh boy, in this swatch book so that we can do that. Okay, so let's start with Joyce's Mother Green. And let's take a look at that color. Oh, so this color reminds me a lot, if you like Daniel Smith, this color reminds me a lot of Serpentine Green. That base that's in Serpentine Green, but this one does not granulate. Serpentine Green, I can feel myself getting nerdy, friends. So the nerdy color chat is going to happen today. Hope you don't mind. So this is a lot like the base color that's in Serpentine Green and Daniel Smith, except Serpentine Green does granulate. So it has other colors in it. And then that's a gorgeous color. Love this. Beautiful, solid. Okay, now Perylene Green. Woo. See how it comes out at first? That's its mass tone. So that's like 100% pigment. And I'm going to clean off my brush here just so we can water this down, add a little bit of water and change that value of that color. But you can see that this Perylene Green, it granulates a little bit. You can see the little granules in it. And it has, let's just go to my handy dandy little dot card so we can find it. So Perylene Green right here is PBK 31. So that's a black. And it is a G1. So that's a granulating. It granulates some, but it granulates just a little bit. So if you like colors that granulate, but not like wild granulation where you get all those mixed up colors, this is a great Perylene Green for that. Cheryl just says, love the nerdy chat. I'm feeling kind of nerdy today and calm and just want to kind of just paint along without a real hefty agenda today. Okay, green gold. I love this color. So this green gold reminds me a lot of the Winsor & Newton green gold. This one has a lot more, this one's a little bit more bold than the Winsor & Newton green gold. Winsor & Newton version is very predictable, and these three greens, this has a little more yellow in it. I just love it. I'm going to use all three. I think they're great greens to use. I hope my colors are coming out okay. Feel like we might be a little bit, can't really tell. Let me know in the chat if everything on the down camera looks good. Marie just ordered the Davinci dot cards. You will not be disappointed. Davinci is a great company too. Let's just go ahead and check something. Yeah, okay. I think it's all right. We're going to keep moving. Okay, so really, really love these three colors. Now, while we're at it, now I'm going to focus on the greens. Okay, I'm going to focus on the greens first. Now we know I'm going to start with the green golds. So with the leafery, I know that we're going to end up kind of overlapping leaf elements. So I kind of want to start with my lightest color, and then I'm going to layer some of my darker colors kind of over top so we get that feeling of colors coming through, like lights and darks and like layers and texture. So let's see, at least in my brain, that's what I think is going to happen. So Thank you, Cherie, for letting me know. Sandra just says a little bit of a shadow. I know, I see it too. So, friends, I know I did that little studio tour a couple weeks ago. Um, I have a lot of windows in this space, so I kind of sometimes have to counteract the windows with lights. And you can see I'm trying to I've got a light here. I have lights all around me. Sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes I'm not. So let's go ahead and start with our green gold. And I'm just kind of picking this up. I'm still using the number 6. And I need my little reference. Where's my little reference of what I did? Or do I not need the reference? Who knows? Let's pop that out. We're going to get started with doing brushstroke leafery. I've done this many times, and if you've ever taken a class with me in the classroom, craftyourjoy.com, I've shared that technique many times, but we're going to do it today. Okay, let's clean off my brush again. Just dabbing it off. I don't want it to be too wet. I really want to pick up. I've got a consistency here between whole milk and like a 2% milk. So a pretty good consistency. And I'm going to start in this corner. I'm going to kind of go up and around a little bit and then just kind of shoot up and do a few things. So I'm using the very, very tip of the brush. So Cheryl, when you asked about the mop brush, so here's our biggest difference between the mop brush and the round brush. I'm choked up here on the barrel quite a bit. And I'm able to see that little fine line that I'm able to get from the round? You wouldn't be able to get that with the mop. So I'm just going to kind of come up and do just a few little like guidelines for myself. Okay, just little guidelines that just kind of give me a sense of where my shape is starting. Then come back in and get some of that green gold. Turn this a little bit. Gosh, I have a big mess here today. Turn this a little bit this way and then just start doing some of my petals. So I start with the brush vertically and then take the whole belly of the brush and make that elongated brush stroke. Let's do that again so that you can see. I'll do it a little bit to the side so that you can see. So got that tip, and I'm using those lines as my anchor points. And then just lift my brush and just kind of keep going and see how far you can go before you have to apply more paint, before you have to get more paint. So you can see that with this Davinci paint, I can go really a long way before I have to kind of get a little more paint on my brush. It's starting to get a little bit dry right there, but that's okay. When it starts to get dry, just clean off your brush and just work with what's here. Okay, so we're going to repeat this. See how I'm just kind of going back with a little bit of water? This is just a brush with some water on it. I'm just playing around. Now I'm using this Arches paper, which is a super thirsty paper. Super thirsty. So it can take a lot of water. And I'm just going to play. Just kind of let that go. And let's go up the other side and do a little bit more. And I'm intentionally leaving spaces in between because we're going to come in with the alternate colors and play with that. And also just kind of wing it a little bit. All right, got a little bit of water, some pigment here. I'm choked up on the brush, so it feels kind of natural. It feels very much like using a pen, right? Okay, I'm turning this. I always have to shift, being the lefty that I am, shifting my whole entire paper and trying not to make sure I don't smudge over this. So let's go up a little higher here and just start doing some of these brush strokes. Okay, friends, so I have been away for like a week and a half. About 2 weeks ago, yeah, it was 2 weeks. yeah, it was 2 weeks this past Wednesday. My brother-in-law passed away. And it kind of caught us all by surprise, um, in that it happened so quickly. But so I have a very large family, and we had a lot of planning and things to do. So that kind of happened and kind of delayed me coming in live. I'm gonna just kind of go around the curve here just a smidge and just add a couple little pieces of leafery right here. And now we're just freestyling a little bit. Digging it. Yes, digging it. Okay, just freestyling. So a lot had been going on, and we also had hosted our 4th of July family party, which we host every year. We hosted on the 5th, and it was sort of a 4th of July / dual engagement, engagement toast, cocktail toast, champagne toast for my son and my future daughter-in-law and my niece and her future husband. So they're getting married next year. I'm picking up some of this Joyce's Mother Green, and I'm going to go in and add some more. They're both all 4 of them are getting married next year, in May and June, so a month apart. So while we had a lot of grieving, and a lot going on with our family, we also had a lot to celebrate, because also in the middle of that was my nephew's daughter's first birthday. So I literally had posted this. I said we have had mourned losses, celebrated, clinked glasses, did all of these things that are all a part of life, all within the span of like a week and a half. So last Sunday, by the time, I feel like this is a little bit too much leafery. I really didn't want it to be so leafy right there, but I'm going to run with it. I've got this green here. Last Sunday, I kind of like was moving along, doing all kinds of things, but then by the afternoon, I just kind of collapsed and was like, okay, we're done. We're done. We're going to take a little break. Okay, I'm liking the leafery that I have here, but I just did a little bit. I feel like I nested them a little bit too close together, because I didn't really want to do that, but that's okay. I'm going to come in with some Paroline green, and then I'm really just kind of holding the tip here, and I'm going to do like a couple little feathery things. You can see I'm just being very, very light with my brush. Just kind of coming around the edge here. And we're really freestyling this. Now, in order for me to feel like this is a little less crowded, I'm going to come in and do this. See how I'm just kind of feathering my brush around. And this is helping me to create a few layers. Thank you, friends, for saying so sorry for your loss. Like I said, we celebrated, we grieved, we celebrated, we clinked glasses, we had birthdays. So many beautiful things happened, and so many hard things happened, all in the span of a week and a half. But this is life, right? This is what we are all in the midst of. And I had some time to like kind of reflect on all that beauty and all of the sorrow, and kind of felt immensely grateful for being here. So yeah, kind of immensely grateful for being here and having the experiences that I've had over the last week and a half. As a result, though, I literally felt like, and I was working quite a bit. I have quite a few deadlines going with all of the people that I serve. So, I was working in the midst of all of that as well. Kind of loving these colors together. I feel like I did the green gold. I want to come in over here a little bit with some of the Joyce's Mother Green. and just kind of add some dimension to over here. Just adding a little bit of color over on this side. So I'm sure many of you can relate to a lot of things happening in your life and kind of all happening all at once. And friends, during all this, the birthdays that we celebrated, it was also my birthday this past Tuesday. And because of the activities and everything that we had going on over the last week, I kind of forgot that it had come. So we celebrated. It was fun. We're celebrating tonight. My little family of 6. We're celebrating tonight, and that's going to be super fun. And we also kind of celebrated on my birthday with some sushi, me and my daughter and my husband. So love that too. But it's weird when your birthday falls on a weekday, right? And everybody's working. I was working all day because we had I was still doing a bunch of massive deadlines. So it's kind of fun. It's life. It's life. We're all stepping into this flow of life and things that happen. I'm going to start to curve around a little bit here and just kind of play. Also, my garden is flourishing with beautiful zinnias right now. And I grew my zinnias this year. Thank you, everyone, for the belated birthdays. I grew my zinnias this year just for the pollinators. So I haven't picked any and brought them in. I picked one very, very early on. But they're so beautiful. The colors are super vibrant. I talked about them a couple of videos ago. So in the last paint and chat, we did a zinnia thing. So you could kind of see that there. Some of the zinnias I had for inspiration. I think I showed some of the zinnias from my garden, and that was pretty early on. So they're really starting to bloom and flow, and I'm just loving the way they're starting to come to life. And there's bees everywhere out there. I also have coneflower and echinacea. Well, coneflower and echinacea, same thing. Lots of different coneflower, lots of different daisies and things. And it's really fun to go out and see the bees in the garden that are just taking a little nap inside of the flowers. I just love that. Just love that. Okay, I want to start to build some stems from our center point here that kind of go up and out. So let's just play with that a little bit. I've got a little bit of our green gold here. Probably this 2% or in between 2% and skim milk, a good amount of it, not a ton of water. And I'm just going to start to just draw a few little lines that kind of go up. And they're just giving me little guidelines because we're going to put some blooms on them. Yes, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So now let's focus on these blooms. Let's move away from the greens for a minute. Let's focus on the blooms. I'm going to use, what do I have here? Alizarin Crimson and Permanent Rose. Marie just says, your veggies are finally close to harvest, the color of our zucchini flowers. Oh, I love hearing that. So I have a zucchini and cucumber story. So my first round of zucchini and cucumbers, we had a very, very wet spring. So my first round, I'm putting some Permanent Rose down here. My first round kind of got waterlogged of both, and they got extremely yellow. This is Alizarin Crimson, and that's Permanent Rose. So we've got like a red pink, and a pink. And then I'm going to put some of this Benzamedia orange down as well. Everything got waterlogged. So by now, like if those plants would have taken, I would be swimming in zucchini and cucumber. But that didn't happen. I ended up having to get some more plants. And every day I go out there and check on them because we are in prime squash bug season. and fighting them off. I don't use any kind of pesticides or anything on our property, in our yard, in our gardens, anything. So I'm out there fighting them with neem oil and peppermint and all these different things to keep them at bay. And so far, like I was out there this morning checking on them to make sure you don't get those little squash bugs on your zucchini. They'll completely wipe everything out. So Marie, I'm hoping to get a harvest, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to take some of this pink. I think my harvest is going to be super, super late. My sunflowers are super, super late. And like I said, it's because everything just kind of got drowned early on. We're going to do a couple little petal flowers. And again, brushstroke petals. So I've shared this technique before. When I want to do like a 5 petal flower, I just do 1. I do these little dots, 2, 3. We'll make this a 4 petal. And then I clean off my brush. You have an overabundance of lettuce and arugula. I have a lot of arugula right now. My other heat tolerant lettuces haven't come in yet, but all of my cool tolerant lettuces have bolted. I just let them bolt. Okay, I'm taking a little bit of water. This is just a clean brush, and you can see that I'm just running my brush over what's here, and then just kind of creating these little petal forms with my brush. Again, just brush strokes. Love that. Yes, Marie, you planted late because of a rainy spring. I planted early. Like, I've already gotten a great pea crop. I've already harvested my my potatoes. I've gotten first round of bush beans. I've had lots of onions. I've already harvested my garlic. So it's been pretty good, but all of my summer stuff is really taking a bit. Okay, so my brush is clean, and I'm just going to work with the paint that's here. Just kind of dance. See how I'm dancing my brush around? I'm going to make this flower just really kind of soft and just kind of soft first to start. We can always go back in and add some color. All right, now I've got some alizarin crimson. I'm going to do the same thing. I got a little bit of that pigment on here. We're going to put that one, let's put that one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little dots. Clean off your brush. Brush is wet, paper is dry. And we're just going to come in and just kind of create this little petal shape. And what I'm doing is doing like this little half moons right around that shape. And you can come out pretty far if you'd like. And no, these aren't realistic petals, but they're beautiful little leafery, like brushstroke, what I call brushstroke blooms. Okay, question from Marie regarding paper. It appears your paper is smooth. I purchased watercolor paper from Michael's a while back, and it's somewhat textured. Do you advise smooth paper? Okay, this paper right here is not smooth. It is a 100% cotton Arches paper. If I can try to turn it, you can hear. See how it has a texture to it. It is, let me flip this back over. So you can see it's 100% pure cotton, and it is a cold pressed paper. So textured paper versus smooth paper. So hot pressed paper, let me take a little bit of this alizarin crimson. I'm going to drop it in here while this is still wet and let it do its thing. Look at that. Ah, I love that flower. Hot pressed paper will be really super smooth, but still 100% cotton in most cases if you get 100% cotton hot pressed paper. Cold pressed paper will most likely, in all the brands that are 100% cotton, have a little bit of texture or tooth to it. You can feel it, and you can tell like it's got a lot of fibers, which the 100% cotton paper will allow you to use a lot of wet into wet techniques, which is lovely. Um, if you purchase some paper from Michael's and it's somewhat textured, it could have been, let me know in the chat, Marie, if it was their brand. I think it's Artist Loft is their brand. And or Canson, you might have gotten a Canson paper from there. It has a little bit of texture to it. Their Artist Loft brand and the Canson brand are called, they're cellulose paper, not 100% cotton. They do use cotton fiber, and they pulp it together and they pulp it down to make the paper. It's a great paper. It just reacts differently to your paints. You tend to not able to do as many layers with that kind of paper. Okay, I can see that I kind of boogered this up. I'm just adding a few dots here. I'm going to come back to this little guy. Everything was so wet. Let's just go ahead and just kind of go in here. Take my wet brush. This was the Benzamedia. I should have looked up how to say it. Orange, which I love this orange. There's you can make orange, of course. You can color mix your own orange. But some of the oranges that are out there, friends, that are already made for you are just absolutely gorgeous and delicious. While we're painting together, or while you're watching while we paint, just don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat. Especially, and it doesn't have to be about what we're painting. I'm just pulling away some of this color. You can see I'm lifting it up. So my brush is wet. The paper's still wet, but see how I'm lifting some up and away because it kind of got a little boogery. I'm going to take a little tiny bit of that alizarin crimson and just kind of drop it back in and see what happens and let it do its thing. Now let me go back and see if I turned the fan off today, friends, because sometimes I have the fan on and everything just dries too quickly. So let me just, okay, the paper's still wet. Great. Drop a little bit of that in there. All right, I'm digging that. I'm digging the way that looks. I want to come in. I want to do something fun here. I want to start to add like some filler pieces. Strathmore watercolor. Okay, Marie. Okay, Strathmore Watercolor 140-pound cold press has a beautiful texture. It's a cold press paper. It's not, the Strathmore's not 100% cotton. It's gorgeous paper to work with. You're going to love it. Just know that when you're working with massive like wet into wet techniques, like when your paper is really wet and you're adding a lot of water and pigment, it'll bloom a little bit and give you a little bit of a texture. So, okay, now I kind of want to come in. Let's just start popping some things in that are fillers. So what I mean by fillers is that like these little things, and they're just done with the tip of the brush, little brush strokes. I'm going to add like little boops. See how I'm just adding little tiny, I've got a lot of pigment on my brush, and it kind of looks a little bit like a lilac maybe, or just a filler flower, maybe a phlox. I've got some beautiful phlox in my garden right now. Marie, yes, that's what happened. Yes, that will happen. So try to paint with a little bit less water. Do a little bit more of a wet, your brush is wet, your paper's dry techniques. Practice that first until you get like that comfort level with the paper. Sometimes you might find with the cellulose paper like that you're fighting with the paper a little bit more than you would an 100% cotton paper. Now, I often use Strathmore the Strathmore brand has the Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor. That's 100% cotton. I use that all the time here in the videos for paper crafting projects and for other projects. So you might enjoy that paper as a foray into trying out some 100% cotton paper. Okay, let's just start popping some filler flowers in. And right now I just got the tip of my brush a little bit wet, and then I'm just kind of coming in and adding a little bit of water to it so it just kind of looks kind of floaty. See, I'm just, because I got a lot of paint here, so I'm just using what's here and touching it a little bit with the brush to make it a little bit more aqua-y. Marie, yeah, it's not easy to stamp on. That Strathmore paper that you have in a pad, because of that texture, won't be super easy to stamp on. You can stamp on it, but you're going to need to use like a stamp positioner or something like that to help that along. Okay, I've got this little bloom here. Let's come in with this orange. Now I'm going to go full tilt here. I've got a lot of pigment on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of go in and do some blooms. And, ooh, a little bit wet. Just kind of do a little blooms that are more of a full strength of that color. That benzomedia orange is a little bit more opaque. You can see how opaque it is. I'm going to water it down just a little bit and just kind of get a little movement going with that color. I kind of lost its texture a little bit, but that's okay. All right, coming back with a little bit of our greens and just kind of doing a few little petals, some brushstroke petals. Let me know in the chat if you're kind of painting along today. I would love to see. Well, it's hard to see here because we're not like on a Zoom call or anything, but oh, Cheryl, that's very, very nice. I love that comment. Cheryl has made a comment in the chat about working with Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor and using both sides because it does have a smooth side. It's lovely. All right, I'm just kind of going in and adding a few more lines. See, I'm just adding some lines with the tip of my brush. I'm kind of liking how I'm filling things in here. Let's get a little bit more orange. And I'm just dropping in these little tiny, see how I'm painting over some of the colors that I have and letting it all mix together. Clean off my brush, kind of come in with a little bit more of this green, follow that line just right at the tip there and draw that down. Just kind of playing here. No right or wrong with this. We're going to go back and add some really beautiful detail to the flowers just to kind of bring them to life. But right now I'm just going to flip this. And let's add a little bit of, let's get a little bit of this alizarin crimson. No, this is permanent rose. I love permanent rose. Look at all this yuck I got going on over here. That's all right. For me splashing paint around. I'm glad. I know that many of you are just enjoying watching. I am enjoying you being here. See, I'm just going to do these little petal flowers. I call them filler flowers. And see how I just do the same thing that you do with making petals for leafery, except you do it and move your paper. And you kind of end up with like a daisy. And sometimes the little petals get a little bit wonky, but that's okay. It's just kind of fun to practice your brush strokes. And my brush is clean. And see, I'm just going to go in and kind of work with what's here. Work with what's here. And just draw, elongate some of those edges. Love that. I'm going to come in. I don't have a black or anything, but I'm going to take a little bit of this Perylene green that's super, super dark and just kind of drop a little bit of it in the center here. And if I don't blend it out with water, it's going to look black. So I'm going to leave it that way. Kind of looks a little bit like a anemone. Anemone. I can never say that. Anemone. Cheryl, oh, was going to paint along until your water fell on the carpet. Friend, I've been there. Friend, been there. How about when you're painting something and you drop your entire thing of water on your painting? I've done that. That just one. Those are. I always look at those things as like those are little signs from the universe telling you that you are moving too fast. You need to slow down and be a little more intentional. Or sometimes that's the case. Or sometimes I'm just clumsy and I've knocked things over. Okay, I'm gonna flip this around, and let's pick up and do some filler pieces, kind of coming in here. I think I want to do like little tiny dots that just look like little petals. I might tie them together, I might not. And my intention here is not to fill up every space too. I do want some white space here. But our intention today is just to have some fun. All right, clean brush. We are going to run probably about 15 minutes over today. Paint chats tend to go a little longer. I'm going to take a little bit of water here. Oh, that's too much water. That's too much water. All right. That's okay. I'm just going to tap, 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 tap with my brush here and just dance this around. Add a little bit more tap into it. Add a little green. Oy, that looks like a hot mess. But that's all right. We're going to leave it. It's one of those flowers that's blowing in the wind. All right, let's do a little something over here. I'm going to grab a little bit of the Benzomedia orange. Oh, Cheryl, great question. Do you ever paint with some of the watercolor metallic paints? Yes. I've done a couple little things on the channel with watercolor metallics, but yeah, I'd love to bring them in and talk about them a little bit more. So I will. But yes, I do. I know that we tend to think about using our watercolor paints a lot. I mean, our metallics around the holidays, but they are actually really lovely to use for splatter techniques, and they're just really lovely to add a little bit of detail on top of what you're working with. And I just tend to stick with, there are a lot of metallics out there. You can probably get a metallic paint in every stinking color you can possibly think of. This is how I tend to stick. I tend to stick with a silver and a gold that I really like. And then I will add silver. Like you can take silver, metallic paint, and mix it up with any of your colors to give the current color that you already own a little shimmer and shine. So if I had one close without having to dig, I would grab it. But I know I would have to dig to find one. Okay, let's add a little tiny... Let's add a little tiny flower over here, like a little petal flower, just a little tiny one. And I'm just using the tip of my brush. Oops, that's a little wonky. To add just a little tiny bloom. Let's add another little bloom. I feel like I need one right here. And then we're going to go in and start adding some details and just try to bring this project home a little bit. My daughter is here. Well, my daughter lives here, but my daughter is she's working on a project right now. She just finished her semester. She is, and she's got a little bit of a break before she starts another one. She goes all year round for college, and she does beautiful nails. I might bring her in. I might holler for her and ask her to come in. So she, that's one of her hobbies, doing her nails. You wouldn't know by the look of my nails, but she does beautiful, beautiful nails. And I can hear her. She's in there working on swatching her nail colors, which reminds me a lot of how we swatch our paint colors and swatch our marker colors and things like that. So it's kind of fun to see her having fun that way. I'm just going to add some brush strokes here. Oh, hello, TJ. Hello, hello. I kind of really like the way this. I'm going to add a little brush stroke right on the tip of that. Just a little. Let's just add a few. Ooh, that one got away from me. And I'm just going to add a few little brush strokes. I'm loving this. And then I'm going to come back in and show you. I keep spinning this around, probably making you dizzy. I feel like I've got some goodness going on here. I feel like I got a little bit of something I got to do right there. So let's just come in. I don't have enough paint. And then we'll kind of do a few details. Then we'll do a little bit of a recap of where the colors we used. Just kind of coming in and filling in a few spots. I'm kind of digging this. I'm totally digging this. Even though I kind of did this laurel-like leaf look here that I really didn't want to do, but I managed to do it. Now I'm just going to come back in and do some layering. So I'm just adding some color back in over top of some of the leafery pieces that I did, and it may not even be over like the same color. Oh, I love that. Would you all like to meet my daughter? Oh, Cheryl just said Kathy Z did a video a while ago on swatching nail colors, and now I swatch my nail color also. She did. That's so cool. But you should see how she's swatching her nail colors. I'm going to have her come out and show you because it's really kind of cool. She's doing it very similar to like the way salons do it. Now I'm going to go back into these flowers and just kind of add a little bit of line work. And if you've all noticed, I haven't changed brushes. I'm still using the number 6 brush. So I'm just going over top and just doing swoosh, 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 and adding a little bit of line work for some texture. Love that. Everybody wants to meet her. That's fun. I'll bring her out. She knew I was going to probably ask her to come out. So just adding a little bit of line work just for fun. Yes, please. Everybody's saying yes, please. Fun. Just adding some lines over top of what we did. And this, it just kind of brings a little bit more texture and dimension. Yes. Okay, fun, fun, fun. I think it's fun when you kind of get more behind the scenes looks at things. All right, now all of that little bit of line work that I did, I'm just going to go back with a wet brush real quick and just kind of go over it just a smidge. I don't want to brush it all out. And I really like that it's there. This one's a little harsh. This looks a little bit like a peppermint, but whatever. I'm digging it. Dance our brush around a little bit. Let me dry off some of this wetness I got going on there. I'm loving that. What I want to do real quick is I want to drop a little dot of orange in some of my centers here and see what I like. Love, love. Now I'm just kind of looking at it and seeing where I can go in and add just some of these little brush lines for a little bit of extra texture and dimension. And see how I'm just kind of holding my brush back a little bit? And just adding a few with those darks and lights. I wonder if she can hear me. She probably has the door closed. But I'm gonna holler for her in a second. Marie, great question. When you pick a design to work on, sometimes using a stamped image, how do you decide what medium would work best? Great question. I worked on something yesterday and realized that maybe it could be a watercolor project. Okay, that's a great, and it wasn't a watercolor project. So some of the things that make watercolor and stamping a little bit easier is when you have stamps with big open lines. So there isn't a lot of heavy black. There's a lot more line work. So you have more room to do color work inside of it. If you have silhouette stamps or stamps that feel very dense or look dense when you stamp them in black or a color, they tend to be harder to do watercolor with them because they have so much ink. Now, you can do watercolor with them, but it's more of like splattering, like watercolor backgrounds and then stamping that over top so you get a watercolor background. But if you're going for more realism or more of like you're doing flowers and you want the petals to be painted, you need a stamp that's like a little bit more open line and has line work to it. Also, some stamps that are little itty bitties, you know, like our little 1x1s or 2x2s, they can present a challenge too. So, most of the projects, it's interesting because I'll come to a project and I'll be like, yeah, I really want to watercolor this because, you know, I like to watercolor. I like to watercolor everything. But it's too fine of a stamp or there's too much detail. So I might need to like break out my markers and use a marker. But I hope that helps. A lot of times I'm always thinking watercolor first. So when I'm designing stamps for Gina K, I'm always thinking, how can I help you all watercolor with these stamps? I'm just going over what I have here just in the same way that I did. I'm just adding another little layer, so a little bit of texture and dimension. Hopefully that helped, Marie. But have fun with it. I sometimes like to get everything out in my stash and just play and see what I can come up with. I want to take a little bit of this orange. I want to splatter a little bit. Let me just splatter down a little bit of that orange. Let me take some of this alizarin crimson. I just got this urge to splatter. I don't know where that came from. The urge to splatter. I'm kind of digging this and almost like ready to call it. So let me see if I can get my daughter out here. I'm kind of digging the way this looks. I like it. It's kind of wild and woolly and wildflowery. So super fun. Let's see if I can. I'm going to mute myself while I call her really quickly so that you don't hear me yell her name. Let's just mute myself. Ooh, let's get my camera over here. One. I'm muted really quick. So why don't you pop your hands in, and then I'll bring your face in. Okay.
I put my ear.
Yeah, bring them out.
There we go.
So I shared with everyone how you are a college student, and this is like your hobby, and it's absolute like your creativity comes out in your nail designs. So share your hand and the nail designs. This
These
is the
ones are
latest.
boring.
This is the latest. It's
Here we go.
absolutely
Here we go.
gorgeous. But I shared how you were in there doing your swatches. And we were talking about how we swatch our colors and all of the different things. And yeah, let me just we'll pop you to the, let's go.
Oh gosh. Which camera is it?
It's this one.
Okay.
Here you go. You gotta come down a little bit. This is Sydney. Hello.
Hi.
This is my daughter, Sydney. I know I talk about my daughter and my son a lot. So everybody's popping in the chat.
Oh,
Beautiful
oh my
now.
gosh.
So the
Okay.
chat's over here.
Neat.
Yeah. So how many do we have? We had, 14 now. We had 21 before. So yeah, people pop in and out. But yeah, this is her nail project. So how many? I'm
halfway through.
There's
right now.
also you know Kathy Z, my friend Kathy Z.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows Kathy Z. She has done nail swatching. Her nails are always perfect.
It's a pain in the butt. My back hurts. Everything hurts.
Her back hurts. Everybody's saying hello. There's a 20-second delay, so it takes a little time sometimes. Okay. But yeah. So how many of these do you have to swatch?
I think of this brand, I have about 40, but I have 15 more coming in the mail.
40. So I don't feel so bad.
Oh, you have way too many.
With all my paint, right? Everybody's saying hello. Cheryl, TJ, Sandra, Tracy. It's kind of fun. Isn't that cool? Look at these gorgeous colors. So she got these little tip swatches to do her. Well, we use this color today. That's like on the alizarin crimson right there. And then here is one of the pinks. So super fun.
My fall red.
Marie just said so many colors. She gets gel nails and the color options are endless.
Yes, it's the
that's
brand,
I think what these are.
D&D. So it's all gel, and then I use the little lamp too.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the butt.
Pretty cool, huh?
It's fun.
Thank you.
Of course. Bye everyone.
So super fun. Okay, friends, we are finished painting this today. So here was my original. And I really kind of like this little sunflower. And I was going to do a sunflower today, but I don't know what happened. We just didn't do it. We're just painting and chatting and talking and just kind of having a little bit of fun with this. And just easy breezy, send you into the weekend to craft your joy. And we had a little bit of a chat about nails. And I'm just checking the chat to see if I missed anything. Oh, Marie. Okay, you posted it in the lab with the photo. Oh, yeah. That was the, I saw that in there. And I did comment. So, friends, Marie's talking about the Craft Your Joy Lab. That is my free community. And it is free to you. Right now, there aren't, we have over 100 members in there. I share tutorials in there. We share a lot of inspiration in there that I'm not sharing anywhere else. And it's a place that I've built where I know you can go and see things from me without ads, without all the distractions that you'll find in other social media platforms. It's not even a social media platform. It is a community. So I would love it if you would join us. It's free. Just head on over to craftyourjoylab.com. It's also listed down below in the description. And it's free to you right now. Everybody's just saying great session. Thanks for all the information. Hi, Winnie. First time catching live. Hi, Geraldine. Oh, it's so great to see you. You can pick up on the replay. Everybody's kind of popping in. Okay, friends, I will be back next week. I'm back to more of a regular schedule next week. If you're on my email list, that will come out. The email will come out like Tuesday. I'm either going to be going live Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. Actually, it won't be Wednesday. I know that for sure. It'll probably be Thursday. So, and I either will be doing, we'll probably be doing another card tutorial. Also, I am looking at it over there. I am preparing for our next Gina K release. Friends, I'm so excited about this stamp set. You are going to be excited about it. It is going to be so much fun. So full of color. And it's inspired by something I've done on this channel recently in a past paint and chat, like within the past, with this year, within the past couple weeks, actually. It's inspired by that. So, okay, friends, sending you into the weekend to craft your joy. Let me just make sure I've got everything. I'm seeing everybody saying so excited about the release. Yeah, you can enjoy the replay. Again, today was paint chat, super casual, nerded out about Davinci watercolors, talked a lot about different brushstroke techniques to create this painting that we created today. Yeah, just kind of fun and very wildflowery like, and no illustration experience required, just brushstrokes. So super, super fun. Let me know. We did talk about Davinci Watercolor. I didn't dive in super, super deep in that particular brand, but I will be sharing more about Davinci over this month. And maybe into August. Who knows? I really like it. I'm not paid by them in any way. I, as you can see, have invested in them with my own money, and I just love it. And I love sharing different brands with you. Okay. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.